Good morning, everyone. Thanks for joining me. There has been a lot of talk about the Chaos Ore, and really only videos that are out right now are all about the new champion. What is in the near future of Raid Shadow Legends? What to expect in the game? They didn't really give us. I want to know what's going to happen this year. What are you going to do for the game this year? Are you going to bring us clan versus clan PvP? Let me just give you an idea over here on Awakening Chaos Era. This will go global on Monday, and they're already telling us for 2022 that they're bringing us real-time arena PvP, real guild wars, guild dungeons, and this game is going to global launch on Monday. But they're already telling us they're going to bring us that. And I believe them because anytime they've told us they're going to do something, it happens. Like, it happens right away. That's not a dig on Raid, guys. What I want to know from Raid is, though, the reason why I showed you that, I want to know what's going to happen this year. They told us that they're going to work on PvP, which is huge. You've got to understand, in these games, when you're at in-game like I am, when you complete all the content, there aren't a lot of challenges, and you have so many champions in the game that you can actually do all the content out there, that PvP is the end game. And if you're not on top of PvP, making 3 vs 3 tag team arena, something that people want to play. If you're not making Platinum Arena, something that people want to play, or Guild vs. Guild Arena, which, God, I don't even know why that's not in the game. It should have been in the game years ago. It causes an issue with in-game players like myself spending money in the game. We just don't really have a reason to spend money, and I want a reason to spend money in Raid Shadow Legends. So I want Arena to really be focused on, and they did say they're going to work on that. They said they're going to work on hero champion balancing. But I want to see more than just this. I don't want you to tell me that new champions are coming out. We know that. They're coming out Monday. Actually, all the content creators are in the test server right now, testing out every single champion along with the fragment champion. And they're going to be able to do videos on this on Sunday. And they're going to stream Sunday and show you everything that they've done. But they're working on that right now on the test server. Then they tell us faction crypts are coming out with Shadowkins, which we know, and that CVC is about to start up with no personal rewards. Let's look at these champions. They're not bad champions, but I thought it was really funny that when I first came in here, I just scrolled to the bottom just to see what people were saying. And right away, 4 Pixnil class new legendaries. When somebody says that it's a Pixnil class legendary, that's not a good thing at all. Stop restricting champions to grant them abilities only when there's a certain condition or certain factions. I understand that, but as long as you make the ability good and then you put a restriction to where it's even better when you're faced against a different faction, then it's okay. It's completely fine then. Useless as always, 610 S tier champions, 500 useless. Please stop making bad void legendary champions. Rework the ones we have. They're supposed to be doing that. This year is the year of rework and of PvP. Let's not forget that. Danning is a great example of a good ability, but gets really strong if you're faced off against high elves or dark elves. So we do an AoE attack on a 3-turn cooldown, place decreased accuracy, and a true fear on the enemy, which true fear is really strong. And then if it's a high elf or a dark elf, it is irresistible. 3-turn cooldown, this is a really good ability that gets even better if we're faced off against certain factions. This is the way it should be. We've had other champions come out that do mediocre abilities and then get just a little bit better if you're faced off against a certain faction. But this is the way it needs to be. It needs to be a normal ability that we see on somebody else that we actually use that's good, and then gets really good if we're faced off against certain other factions. I'm not in love with this champion in general. You have to get a kill down here to do even more. A lot of these on-kill abilities, this is a 4-turn cooldown, can be okay. Grants an extra turn every time this champion kills a high elf or a dark elf. Again, that's really strong, and it's warranted to be very strong because it's only 2 factions. And then heals this champion by 50% of their max HP every time they kill somebody. It's good. I mean, we're getting a good use, and then we're getting an even better use if it's against those factions. So I want to see more of this. I'm not against this, and I think a lot of you out there don't like it when there's a lot of these prerequisites, and I believe it's because of this champion here. We're talking about champions that this is not the champion. We're talking about champions that attack 3 times at random, will ignore 25% of the defense against targets under Hex. And they do that a lot with Hex. They give us champions that aren't like Rule, because Rule's amazing hex-based champion that can do a lot for you, your team, for him, the enemy with his passive. Crazy stuff you can do with Rule. But with this, we need a hex up just to ignore 25% defense. It's not like this is a terrible champion, but we've got to do things with hex that we normally wouldn't want to do, and it looks like they're kind of normal abilities. I think that's where people really get to not liking having to read through all these champions to see what madness they can do, and it's really the prerequisites. It's having to have the hex up, and then the ability becomes kind of a normal ability, what we see on other champions out there. This guy right here, Jinguan, it says type HP. Let's hope this is an HP-based attack damage dealing champion and that he can do a lot of damage like Magnar. I would like to see that. We don't know the multipliers on any of these champions yet, so maybe there's going to be somebody that stands out like Magnar or Trunda. We just don't know. Most of the time, it's pretty standard multipliers. For this guy, I'm looking over his abilities. We do this decrease accuracy, decrease critical damage. We get a strengthen on. It's on a 4-turn cooldown, which is pretty long for what we're doing here, so I'm just gonna have to wait to see. But nothing jumps out on me. I do love that he's immune to all these abilities. This is really, really strong. And then him being able to remove a fear, true fear, freeze, sleep, stun, petrification debuff from an ally and place a block debuffs buff on them. It's on a 4-turn cooldown, but still, since he always has a permanent immune to all of these, I think this is really fun. This is going to be a fun champion to play. He's a Void Legendary, so I'm hoping that he hits really hard along with what he has. He really needs to be kind of a heavy hitter, a bruiser with high HP and doing damage based off of HP. Otherwise, yeah, it's kind of a lackluster Void Legendary at that point if he hits like everyone else and just has the cool ability to be immune to this kind of things. We've got our Fragment Fusion. This guy is going to be amazing to get you through content in the game, to help you out. There's going to be a lot of heals, a lot of continuous heals, and of course, if he's an HP-based champion that's doing damage like Magnar does, then he's going to be great. We'll have to wait and see. They're testing him on the test server now, so I'm sure they would know more than we know right now. This guy we just talked about, all about the hex stuff. I'm not big on this one. You guys let me know where you're going to use this hex-based champion. We got to have hex up, and then we got to be fighting against a Banner Lord or Knight's Revenant to get even further 25% decrease defense on that one. I like this epic champion. This epic champion seems strong to me. We get an AoE leech, we get ally protect on a 3-turn cooldown, and we get a turn meter increase to keep that ally protection up. And then when this champion drops below 50% HP, we get a block damage buff. It is on a 5-turn cooldown, which is a little bit long, like really long, but still I feel like this is a solid champion. 4-space epic champion that does AoE, decreases attack, and heal reduction all together. 100% chance to apply on a 3-turn cooldown. Still really solid. There's nothing wrong with having a champion like this, and we can do decrease speed debuff for 2 turns and a leech. He's bringing a lot of debuffs to the party. A lot of these epics are just to help us with progression, to help us out with faction wars, and just in general, not to be best in slot. Although there are a ton of epics that are amazing, these really aren't as bad as some. This one I'm not really big on. She does an AoE attack, and then we can place increase critical damage and increase attack if we crit hit on all our allies. It's on a 4-turn cooldown. I don't know why it would be not a 3-turn cooldown like most everything else. But if she went first, we get the increased attack up for the rest of our allies. We get increased critical damage. This turn meter increase of all your allies by 30% only when you kill an enemy on a 3-turn cooldown just isn't something you really want to work around. Maybe I would grade her a little bit lower than some of these other epics for sure that we're seeing right now. I really thought this champion was going to be counterattack for our whole entire team. It would be the 4th counterattack champion we'd have in the game, but he only does reflect on everyone and then just does counterattack on himself for 2 turns. When I read this, like when I first glanced over all of the champions, I was like, hey, finally something like Skull Crusher, Valkyrie, Martyr. We get another champion in here, but it wasn't. So he attacks all enemies, he places the weaken, then we've got a small chance to get up a fear debuff for 1 turn on a 3-turn cooldown. But that does go up to actually a pretty high chance, 50% chance to place fear. So every 3 turns, we're going to do the weaken and then get a chance to place a 50% chance to place a fear. Not the best. He gets counterattack on himself to keep trying to reapply the provoke. That's all right. He couldn't have been a rare. But I could see a rare kind of being similar to this champion. I think he brings pretty good control to the party with the fear. So let me know if a lot of what people said down here is warranted. Are they right in saying that these champions are as bad as they are. I don't think they are. I think these champions are okay. I think this one's actually going to be really good for progression and help with your account, or maybe some heals, especially used with Wither or used with Bad Alcazar. Anybody that we can get more turn meter to our whole entire team with a whole bunch of continuous heals. That means that everybody's staying alive, and especially if this guy can do a little bit of damage, and if his damage is based off of HP, he's going to be great. So we'll find that out in the next couple days from all the CCs that are on the test server. I think that covers what we've seen in the last couple days. Please let me know your thoughts down below. I will see you all in a video soon.